let's break down Donald Trump's new war with his favorite platform, Twitter. Donald, the other day, made the following tweet. There is no way that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. Mailboxes will be robbed, ballots will be forged, and even illegally printed out and fraudulently signed. The governor of California is sending ballots to millions of people. Anyone, ... What Twitter did in response, because there have been a lot of complaints about Donald Trump's recent tweets, is they decided that they were going to fact check him. They sent a fact check, little link below, out to leftist media, the Washington Post, CNN, who stated in the articles that they referenced that there's absolutely no mail-in voter fraud. This is immediately turned over. The turnip truck got turned upside down, proven false immediately, a slap in the face by the fact that in West Virginia, just very recently, might have been the same day, a mail carrier was indicted for crimes of changing ballots from Democrat to Republican, something like crossing out Democrat in black ink and putting Republican instead. Regardless, it was in favor of the Republicans, and he got caught. Additionally, in Paterson, New Jersey, there are 3,000 ballots that have been disqualified from a recent election because the signatures did not match the previous years. This is suspected fraud. The NAACP, not exactly a right-leaning organization, National Association of Colored People, has come in and stated that the results should be overturned and that we need a new election. So it's a flat-out lie that mail fraud with ballots, mail-in ballots, that fraud is not going to take place, that it's not going to rise. Whether or not it's the Republicans that cheat or the Democrats, what we want as a democracy is our elections that people believe are fair. And if we think that there's fraud, then that kind of invalidates the election and democracy in many people's minds. Not the best thing to have. Additionally, when you have your fact check immediately overturned, it's like me telling you, hey, my little pit bull here on the leash, he's such a good dog. Pit bulls never do any damage. And the moment that I said it, he breaks off the leash and attacks a bicyclist that's crossing the street and gnaws at his leg. Or you go into a used car lot and the salesman, hey, babe, this baby's the best car we have, the sturdiest. And he hits the roof of the car and the fender falls off. This is the exact same thing, and it's hilarious. I don't think that Donald Trump could have scripted it any better for these things to happen concurrently, for them to leak, to have the fact check go out to leftist sources, CNN, the Washington Post. It's hilarious to me. Additionally, the head of fact checking at Twitter is a known partisan who has compared the Trump administration to Nazis. He's called Kellyanne Conway the equivalent of Joseph Goebbels, who was the Nazis' chief propagandist. He said that the middle of the country elected a racist tangerine. Kind of funny, but still a known partisan. And this is who you want to have fact-checking. You want to lend the fact checks out of an opinion. Donald Trump was stating an opinion, and you link it out. The fact check is done by somebody else's opinion that is immediately proven wrong. Hilarious. Love it. It's just fantastic. And now Twitter's going to pay a huge price because Donald Trump has come in and said that we are going to potentially overturn the platform status that Twitter has and change them into a publisher, along with Facebook, along with YouTube. And I'm sure they're all sweating a little bit right now because this is a distinct possibility. This is legislation that is being set into play. Now, what a platform is basically that you are not responsible for the comments that users generate. For the user-generated content, you just provide the technology for them to interact with each other. So as a platform, you cannot be sued for user-generated content. So in other words, if in the comments section, somebody says something absolutely slanderous, I cannot be held liable for somebody else's actions. However, as a publisher, when you're labeled a publisher and you hire people to create the content for you, you are responsible for what is said. So theoretically, there should be a higher level of content, and that again is theoretical when you take a look at what the New York Times has become. But basically, by fact-checking Donald Trump, by fact-checking an opinion, not a fact, but an opinion that Donald Trump issued that there would be future mail-in voter fraud, they are potentially ruining their status as a platform, which is what I've been warning about for a long time. If they get it changed to publisher, then they are going to have to spend billions and billions of dollars policing the content that their users generate. And they're so profitable, these companies often are, because they have user-generated content, they just provide the technology and everybody comes there to the public square to exchange their opinions. It's a very bad move for Twitter. It's a very bad move by Jack Dorsey. Now, the question that I have for you guys and what I want to pose is, you have the public square. In the past, freedom of speech meant that you could go out into the public square and shout your opinions and you could reach as many ears as your voice would carry. Today, the public square is online, and it is at these various companies, Facebook, Google, Twitter, etc. And you have a very limited number of options to go out there and reach the millions of people. So why should some people be provided the opportunity to reach millions of people? Because that company agrees with their political beliefs. So for example, the Learn to Code hashtag was originally derisively told to coal miners who lost their job by leftists. Then when the leftists started to get fired from their media positions, people on the right began to mock them with Learn to Code, which is the same thing that they did. Of course, Twitter, being leftists in terms of their employment generally, decided that this was hate speech and banned the accounts of the people that denigrated those those workers who lost their media job. So, of course, the employees of Twitter decided to get up in arms over the fact that somebody was denigrating those who had originally mocked the coal miners with their same taunt, and decided that that was hate speech and then blocked their accounts. This is what I mean by unfair practices and the fact that one side is chided or banned for their actions while the other side has no or little repercussions. This is the unfairness of it. Now the question is, should the government come in and declare that this is the new public sphere, the new public space? And this is essentially what Donald Trump is trying to do. He is trying to level the playing field so that conservatives aren't banned on such platform, that conservative speech can also rise, because there is a definite favoritism of leftist and woke speech. This is what's allowed. Now the question is, these are private companies, should this be allowed? That's the question that I have for you. Personally, as somebody who's very much against most government regulations, I'm not certain, but I see the argument on both sides, because this is the public space, this is the new public square, and we should all be given access to it, so long as you are not stating not opinions, but if your statements are in accordance to law. You can't slander people, you can't promote violence and immediate violence, and you cannot be like promoting for ISIS. These are the things that are against the law and should be struck down. The rest should go, and I don't think that they should be policing free speech. I don't think they should be banning accounts because they disagree with somebody's Learn to Code hashtag. That is definitely one point. But Twitter, nonetheless, if they made a huge mistake. If Jack Dorsey and Twitter are labeled a publisher, they're going to have to pay billions of dollars more to police the speech that is ongoing, because they are responsible for the user-generated content, which is the last thing that they want. So, of course, what they did is they went out and fact-checked China's claim that the U.S. was responsible for releasing the coronavirus in Wuhan and that it's all a big U.S. plot. F the Chinese government. Not a fan of the CCP. Nevertheless, Twitter, best of luck with what you have coming down the pipe. I seriously hope, and this is why actually I'm so in favor of Donald Trump at least threatening this action. My big fear is that that they're going to mind their P's and Q's until some leftist takes over, and they are going to then be heavily regulating conservative libertarian speech on the platforms, because they won't like it and they'll feel emboldened to do so because you have somebody like Bernie Sanders or Elizabeth Warren or something like that in office that is in favor of all these things being taken down and struck down as hate speech. It's personally sickening to me, but my question again for you guys is, what do you think? Should we regulate the companies so that freedom of speech is ongoing and that this becomes the public square? That's my question for you guys. Peace and blessings to everybody out there. If you like this, share the video and feel free to subscribe. Peace out, everybody.